I just finished watching 2 hours of Jensen Huang's GTC conference keynote speech. And I would encourage you, if you want to be an investor in the future, that you spend 2 hours watching the speech. You are going to learn more about what's going to happen in the future than probably anywhere else you could go. I would say it would be comparable to if in 1988 you had the opportunity to hear a 2-hour talk from Bill Gates or Steve Jobs telling you what the internet is going to be in the future. If you will spend 2 hours at this, you will come away totally confused because he uses a lot of terms that are foreign to you and I. We don't understand gigabits and ballawatts and whatever. But what you'll learn is the industry is going to change dramatically. And there are some key players that he mentions that he is going to be teaming up to make all this happen. It's the usuals: Google, Amazon, Oracle, Microsoft. But he also mentions Enesys and Symbotics, of course, TSMC, and Cadence. These are companies who are going to help him develop tools that will make the next level of computing available. And that's going to be the Blackwell platform. And what you're going to learn is this is accelerated computing, and it is going to take the computing power of today and multiply it by 100x. And that's just the beginning. He'll share with you that they are going to be taking these GPUs under the Blackwell platform and stacking them, and then supporting them with CPUs, and the ability to move knowledge is going to accelerate dramatically. He explains something that I guess I didn't really understand. He uses the word retrievance. And he says that's basically what your internet today is. You ask it a question, you ask Google a question, and it retrieves maybe 3,000 answers, possible answers for you. And that's what the computer today does. He says what the future is generative AI. And I understood that it would go to a large language platform and it would generate an answer rather than retrieve an answer for you. But then what he explains is this generative AI will become familiar with me. It will know me. It will know how I like to receive information. It will know over time how I use information and what I do with it. And so then it will generate it in a means which is suitable to me. So if you and I, after some learning on the part of this program, ask the same question, we would get probably the same answer, but in a different format based on its knowledge of what I was going to use the information for from its knowledge that it's gathered over the past. So it's going to become an assistant, if you will, for you and I. I think the other thing that I took away that I, again, didn't really understand, but had some understanding as a result of my research on SoundHound, and he calls it a MIM, and that stands for Nvidia Interface Microservice. And what this is he said that I would be able to go to Nvidia's website, and I would be able to download a MIM and put it on my device. And that MIM would then be available for me to upload my data into it, or a set of data that I specifically want available, and it would be mine. So as I understand this, whether it's my phone or my desktop, I would be able to go in and say, this is what I do. This is my data. This is all of my videos that I've created. These are all of the spreadsheets that I've created, all the PDFs that I've created, and this is what I do. And I want to interact with this NIM to create new videos, and I want some ideas from you. Now, this would not be connected to the internet. It would be mine, and I would build a relationship with that NIM so that I could better my work, so that I could better predict what the price of Nvidia is going to be next week, based on the data that I have and the knowledge I have and what's in my NIM. Again, what I came away from this is what SoundHound is going to do. They're going to have NIMs that are inside my car that is knowledgeable of my owner's manual and all the devices within the car. And then I can tell my NIM that I'm going to be traveling to North Dakota, and I want to gather on my NIM all the information that I need relative to that trip. And so it would upload it, and then it would be mine. Okay, and so I could access it along the trip as we're going through Des Moines, Iowa, and say, what is it I should see in Des Moines, Iowa? What's the best restaurants for my taste today in Des Moines, Iowa? What's the best hotel for me, again, based upon what you know about me in Des Moines, Iowa? So it would become my personal computing service that is not actually attackable, if you will, by security or by hackers. It would be mine. And this, he says, is going to be a personalization of compute so that I can have my own knowledge base. I could go to my NIM and I could say, I really like the generative, I really liked The Genesis Machine by Amy Webb. Would you read it and put it into my NIM so I can access it in the future? Oh, and by the way, do the same thing for the Code Breaker and Nothing But Net. And so all this knowledge that I've acquired over the years in books, I could go to my NIM and say, put those in my memory. So when I want to create a video, you build me a script that incorporates everything that I've read, and I've probably got something in the neighborhood of 200 books that I've read, so that I can access that knowledge and share it with my people. So with that in mind, and again, this is what I picked up over the last 2 hours. I really encourage you to do the same. He then goes in and says, he makes that same application to robotics and how if you have such as Symbotics makes the robots, he will be able to give Symbotics the access to a NIM for a Target store so that the programming that goes into Symbotics for Target is different from the one that goes to Applebee's or for whomever. So that each company, each individual will have their own database. Okay? Does that make sense? So that, I can access the general internet for general knowledge, but I will have my own database, and I will be able to build that database however I want. So again, maybe my son-in-law is a baseball nut. He travels around the country and watches baseball games. So he could build a NIM on his device that gives him all the stats, all the information relative to baseball, history, last year, this year, summer camps, and it would all be there on his NIM. Again, Nvidia's interface microservice. That's what I've taken away. I've also then, as I said, come up with some companies. He drops a lot of names, and at first I thought, well, these are companies I need to put onto my list of potential companies to buy. But then I kind of realized he's dropping the names of who he's going to sell his software to, who he's going to sell his GPUs to, who he's going to get to buy the Blackwell platform. And again, some of those are the Googles, the Amazons, the Oracles, the Microsofts, but he also mentions SAP, ServiceNow, Snowflake, Dell. In fact, Michael Dell is in the audience and he notices them, Siemens. So there, you've got to weigh into this and say, what exactly was his motivation there? And is this something that is going to grow alongside NVIDIA? Because the other thing I came away from this is I have to own NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to be driving and making possible not so much artificial intelligence, but generative artificial intelligence that is going to be personalized for you and I. And then the other thing he talked about is digital twins. And so, and this was interesting. It was basically saying, let's say you had a facility, and this was what he used, that was doing some work, manufacturing, and you wanted to duplicate that factory in some other location. You would literally take a camera or a computer with a camera, and you would video everything that is happening in the factory that you have up and running, and then that you would load that into his Omniverse digital twin, and it would improve upon it so that you could go to the new location and have it all laid out such that it's a digital twin that then could be constructed as a duplicate of what you have that is working. Again, this is after 2 hours of listening. I also went in and read some of their press releases. There was one very interesting where they had a conference of the people who were very early on with Jensen and Nvidia in developing what they've got up until now. And numerous of them have left Nvidia and gone and started their own companies. And that is another thing that I think I am going to dig deeper into and find out who these guys are and who the companies that they have created, because you've got to know that these guys know more about what's going on in NVIDIA than anybody other than Jensen. And so they, with Jensen's blessing, say, I'm done here. I'm going to go do what you did, Jensen, and I'm going to build my own company from what I've learned with you, from you. And I got to believe that if, in fact, it's a profitable and it's a well-run company, Jensen's going to use them. And so they will grow alongside Jensen. So I've got to go back to that article that I read. It's a press release that they put out, and copy down those names and those companies, and then research each of those companies and say they're probably all pre-IPO, but build a knowledge base that I just thought of that I can put on my NIM so that I can make better investment decisions. That's how I spent my Monday morning, 2 hours, understanding what's going to happen in the future. And that just brought my mind to another book that I have read. The future is faster than you think. And that 2 hours just showed me, yes, it is much faster than I thought. And this man and his team have seen the future and beyond. So find yourself 2 hours, sit down, watch it. A lot of it's going to go over your head, but it's going to help you understand. This is what I love doing. This is what I want. I want to see the future and have it faster than it, so that I can make good investment decisions. And I invite you to join our tribe. Come be a part of what we're doing and understand the power of the tribe. Yeah, you can learn from watching this video, but you aren't going to really understand until you get access to my research, until you start attending our Friday Stock Talks or watching them afterwards, and understand what is happening. I had a question come in Friday's Stock Talk. Why did Supermicro stock go down last week? Well, they issued 2 million new shares. So they diluted their share base, which means that because there are 2 million more shares, your share of the profits they make went down. So that's why Wall Street took it down. And as I said to Zeke, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And Zeke said, I don't know. I guess it's a bad thing because my shares got diluted. And I said, but you didn't ask the most important question. And what is that? Why did they dilute your shares? Why did they issue 2 million new shares and raise, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 billion? Why did they do that? And one of the other members in the tribe said, to build more manufacturing facilities. That's right. Is that a good thing, Zeke, or a bad thing? That's a good thing, because their demand for their product exceeds their current ability to supply it, and that's probably over the next 5 to 10 years. Now, I then ask, how else could they have done that? Well, they could have gone out and borrowed it, which makes better sense for you as a shareholder of SMCI. To dilute your shares. It makes more sense because if you borrow it, you've got to pay it back plus the interest, so it's more expensive. If you float a bond, you've got to pay it back and pay the interest. So it's better for the shareholders to step up and share in the cost of building the new plants, because they're going to share in the profits and probably the increased profit margins in the future. That's what we do on our Stock Talks. That's what we teach. I'm not here to entertain you. I am not an entertainer. I'm here to share my knowledge. And the beautiful thing I learned today is I'm going to, in the near future, be able to have a NIM that I will be able to gather all this knowledge, all those books, everything I've learned, every video I've done, and have it available to me, probably on something that looks like a tablet or my computer. That's what I learned today. I can't wait to tell you what I learned tomorrow. Talk to you again soon.